So today we're going to be covering two subjects. The first one is a short one, and I think as it's rather amusing, I think we'll get rid of it first. The second is a bit more serious, and it requires a bit more research and information. So the less serious one would definitely be a good thing to butter you all up for. The first one was dropped on my server not so long ago, I believe. The second I saw on Twitter, posted, retweeted by Logic, Suit Yourself, and 8-Bit Thought. But the first one is what we're going to be going with. A couple with identity disorders who have over 400 personalities between them reveal they sometimes go a day without eating because their child, quotes, alter egos don't know how to cook. Based on these pictures, I find it very hard to believe you go a day without eating. Okay, now that I've got the obvious fat joke out of the way, if these two people have identity disorders, as in something that is medically diagnosed, a mental condition that makes it so that they cannot really live without assistance, then they should seek medical help, perhaps get a social carer in, or perhaps child services involved. Last thing we want is 20-something-year-old children going a day without their Pop-Tart. And the final little point to make on this. Isn't it lovely how something that sounds so utterly ridiculous has been allowed to stew and fester in this country? In society as a whole, really. I find it very hard to believe that there are over 400 personalities between two people. I think it's one personality, because I'm a narrow-minded person, and the personality they have is even more retarded than someone who is actually retarded. Congratulations, ladies? So now we've got the more shitposty story out of the way. I hope you all found that to be as amusing as I did while trying to record that about 6 times without laughing my ass off or cracking many fat jokes. Let's get to the North Yorkshire Police tweet that is the main focus of this video. Top tip: if you want to stay out of trouble, don't do what this driver did and swear at our mobile safety cameras while driving past in a car fitted with a laser jammer. Today he's beginning 8 months in jail for perverting the course of justice. There is an article linked there, and we're going to go to that. But I also have a 6-second video of this, of him swearing at the camera. It's highly entertaining. Now before we get into their article, I want to cover a couple elements with regards to laser jammers, because this is quite interesting, and it took me about an hour to get some decent information on this. This is taken from inews.co.uk. Do they work? This is reference to laser jammers. Evidence from police forces suggests they do, but police are getting wise to them. Cameras will often give an error message when affected by a jammer, alerting the operative to potentially suspicious behaviour. They also do nothing to stop the video recording that often accompanies laser-based cameras, and in previous cases this video evidence has been used to prove a driver has been speeding even when the camera hasn't functioned. So basically a laser jammer doesn't really stop you from being caught, unless you're one of those people that puts up a Bill Oddie mask when you drive fast. The more pertinent part now of this article, what is certainly going to have to be focused on in this video. Are they legal? Yes and no. They are legal to sell, buy and fit. It's how you use them that can be illegal. Many companies market such laser devices as parking sensors or garage door openers, and if they are used for these functions they are perfectly legal. However, many come with multiple functions and deliberately operate on the same frequency as the mobile cameras and speed guns. Allowing such a device to interfere with a speed camera is viewed as perverting the course of justice, which is definitely not legal. Now this is how the gentleman in that earlier 6-second video got stiffed. We will of course address the North Yorkshire Police's statement soon enough. What is the punishment for using one? While speeding offences are usually dealt with by a fixed penalty and points on your licence, perverting the course of justice carries far more serious punishment. It basically recommends a custodial sentence of between 4 and 36 months. Does this, however, mean speed camera warning devices are illegal? The answer is no. Systems such as sat-navs that use GPS data to highlight static speed camera locations are legal. It is the interfering with the camera that will land you in trouble. Quite a lot of motorists in this country will moan about this, but we have far too many speed cameras in this country. Yes, okay, we have a lot of incidents, and the money is quite handy considering the number of people that keep breaking the law, but we have far too many. That doesn't sound right now that I've said it. I would take it back, but honestly at this point I just give up. I don't even drive myself, so I don't particularly care too much. Regardless of all that, let's go to the North Yorkshire Police's statement on this, because I think it's quite interesting. Timothy Hill threw the device in a river behind his home in Grassington when he found out that officers had launched an investigation. Well, that was slick, wasn't it? He could have at least driven it somewhere else. But today he was jailed for 8 months at Teesside Crown Court and banned from driving for a year for perverting the course of justice. Hill drove past North Yorkshire Police's mobile safety camera vans on the A19 on 3 occasions in December. On all 3 occasions, he was photographed gesturing at the camera with his middle finger. No one cares about the middle finger part. Actually, if anything, the middle finger is irrelevant. I remember seeing a number of stories being told. I think it was Gordon Ramsay did this. He was talking on Top Gear about how he dealt with speed cameras when he was younger. Or was it Jamie Oliver? One of them walked up to one and filled it with that expanding foam. If I had my way, I'd do it to every single one in this country. Officers began an investigation and Hill initially lied about where the vehicle was and tried to destroy the jammer. But after officers visited his home and interviewed him about the incidents, he admitted he had fitted the device to his car, so he's guilty of it then, for using it for the sole purpose of avoiding getting tickets. So he had an excuse to speed, which he didn't have an excuse to speed. In fact, he is actually guilty of committing a crime. Kind of not reporting on his own crime, or allowing someone else to report on his own crime. Something like that, I think. Police were unable to ascertain his speed, but charged him with perverting the course of justice. Well, at least he got out of a speeding ticket. I hope whoever shares a cell with you is gentle to you. The judge who jailed Hill said that such actions strike at the heart of the justice system, and his sentence must act as a deterrent to others. It won't. Certainly in the more rural areas, unless you have all the speed bumps, speed cameras and everything else people put on those roads to stop people from going above 20, people are going to do it anyway. Why? Well, for the same reason a dog licks his own testicles. Because he can, or she, for the driver as well, of course. Traffic Constable Andrew Forth, who led the investigation, said afterward, "If you want to attract our attention, repeatedly gesturing at police camera vans with your middle finger while you're driving a distinctive car fitted with a laser jammer is an excellent way to do it. While I think this is a waste of time, it is truly extraordinary just how far people will go to break the law. Even though it's not really a law against the laser jammer being fitted, it's more a law about you breaking a different law and stopping someone prosecuting you by getting the adequate evidence for it." Which is quite fascinating, really, isn't it? Would it not be simpler to simply ban the jammer, and if you catch someone using it, instead of charging them with perverting the course of justice, charge them with having their car fitted with something that prevented you from having someone else do their job, of charge you with speeding? Because I was somewhat curious, I googled the average speeding ticket fine in the UK. The nearest statistic I found was from 2015 with £188. Was it worth all those months in prison to avoid paying £188? Was it worth going to prison for all those months knowing you're going to get butt fucked? Unless you're into that. Over £188. Actually quite astonishing. I know that Logic, Suit and 8-Bit have opinions on this that make it quite clear they consider us to be a joke. But I think it's more of an interesting subject when you consider that the guy didn't get charged with any kind of speeding offence. He got charged with stopping someone from charging him with a speeding offence. Which is brilliant, really, isn't it? I know that kind of makes us look like a joke, but I think he himself, the perpetrator, he is an absolute joke unto himself. All those middle fingers he was giving, it never occurred to him that he'd be stopping someone doing their job, so he'd get charged because he stopped someone doing their job. I know I've said that a few times now, but honestly, the mental gymnastics it took for me to get that through my head was quite entertaining, to be honest. And I have to say, in this instance, I tend to agree with the police. I was not going to. But he fitted a device to his car that should never have been there. It's not illegal to have it, and it should be. I think that would have stopped him going to prison. If it was illegal to have it, then he wouldn't have had it. He would have tried to find a different way to avoid you noticing him speeding, perhaps taking a different route. Unless it was his sole goal in life to stick his finger up at you in a white Range Rover. As if that doesn't stand out, you classless shit. Honestly. Well, this has all been rather amusing, actually. I thought this would be a lot more serious and raw data based, but it turns out I'm wrong. There was no actual law on laser beams. There needs to be one. In fact, I would highly recommend North Yorkshire Police possibly contact whichever MP is nearest to them and make a request that they simply put this forward for discussion and possibly legislate. I mean, you're so willing to ban kitchen knives, why not ban laser beams? Anyway, tonight at 10 PM GMT, I will be doing a stream response to Prime Minister's questions on the Cthulhu-Kin and Friends show. I have linked it in the description, the stream itself. If you would like to come and listen to me moan about the Windrush stuff again, no jokes, again, then please feel free to join me, as this is developing into quite the interesting subject. Some of it is conflation based, but we will get to that, well, when I do that stream. So I hope you all have a lovely day, and thank you all for listening.